Hi, this is Chris Mann from Tropical Imaging in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and I want to show you how to create a slideshow using iDVD 08. You can also do this in earlier versions of iDVD. I'm going to click Create a New Project just to get into the program, and I'm going to go and save this in my folder where I already have my image files and so on. Okay, now before I actually start my project, I want to go and check a couple of details in the preferences in iDVD. So it's iDVD menu and then preferences, and here are a couple of things that you want to change. By default, the Apple logo is imprinted on the menus, so in most cases I think you'll want to turn that off. So change that. On your Projects tab, make sure you're on the correct video mode for the region that you're in, or for where your client lives. NTSC is the TV standard that's used in the US, Canada, the Caribbean and Japan, whereas the PAL format is used in Europe and in fact most of the rest of the world. So make sure that's correct. The other thing you want to look at is the encoding quality. The default is high quality, which is fine. Best performance, it's quicker, but it does drop the quality. You may see more little jaggy effects on the moving images. Professional quality is going to be a little better than high if you have the time to wait for it to encode. It takes about twice as long to encode. What it does is it uses two-pass encoding. It goes through the video footage or the slideshow twice. First time to just determine where all the transitions are, and the second time to actually encode it. So it's slower, but it's better. I wouldn't say it was a huge difference, but on some material it can help improve the quality. So try that out. If you've got the time to wait for the project to burn, just put it on professional. If you're in a hurry, go with high quality, and it's going to be acceptable in most cases. Moving along to my slideshow settings, I want to mention this checkbox, always scale slides to TV safe area. Older TV sets, the cathode ray tube type, the non-flat screen old style ones, they overscan the picture. They enlarge the video picture to make sure it completely fills the TV screen. And what that can mean is your program material or your slideshow, your video, gets cropped so you don't see all the image. Modern TVs, LCDs, plasmas, projectors, that kind of thing, they don't do this. They just show the whole image. So if you know your client has a modern TV set, you can safely turn that off. If you suspect they may have an old style CRT display, an old big tube TV, then leave that switched on. If you regularly do slideshows where you want to see the file names, then switch on Show Titles and Comments as a default. We can switch this on and off for individual slideshows as well. I'm going to leave that turned off for a moment. The Movies setting doesn't apply to us in this situation, and the Advanced tab, all the defaults are fine. So my main things that I'm doing here are turning off the Apple logo, and in the Projects tab setting the video quality and the format. Okay, so I can come out of my preferences. Now to make sure that those quality preferences apply, I need to close this project and start again. It doesn't affect the current project or previous projects, only new DVD projects that you start from now on. So I'm going to cancel this, start again. Again, let me save it back in my Pictures folder. I can use the same name, and I'm going with a 4:3 ratio because I'm only creating a slideshow. If I was putting a video on it, I'd probably use widescreen. Okay. Now I'm not going to go through all the different iDVD themes. You can play around with those and decide which ones you like. I'm going to stay with this simple revolution theme. So I'm just going to very quickly put in a picture for the menu display. So let's find my demo folder and my slideshow. So I'll just pick an image from here and just throw that into the little hotspot there. You can scrub through your menu to see how it works, or you can hit the play button and test it. Okay, and then I'm just going to change the title up the top. Okay, So that's my menu set up. Now I'm ready to add the slideshow. By the way, if you're going to use iDVD to make the slideshow, you have to have a menu somewhere where the user can access it. You can't have a slideshow that goes straight into the and plays straight away. Okay, now I'm going to add the slideshow. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can do it from the project menu up the top here. You can use the little pop-up menu at the bottom, but I prefer to go into the DVD map by clicking this icon here, because then I can see the structure of the whole setup, and then I can add it and I can see it's connected to the menu and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to add it in this view like that. The little red X tells me the slideshow is empty. The other thing that this view gives you is this drop box for a video that will play automatically when the disc is put into the DVD player. And this is nice if you want to have a little corporate ident video you can put into there. So here's the one I'm going to put ours in. It's just a quick time movie. It's just 10 seconds and it just has our logo and some music. Okay, so now I'm ready to set up the slideshow, so I'm just going to double click on there, and here's my empty slideshow. If you use iPhoto, that's easy. You can drag your picture straight in from iPhoto. I don't normally, because I process my pictures in Capture One, so I'm just going to use the Finder, go to my folder and get the pictures that I've prepared already for the slideshow. You can just drag them in as camera size images. I normally downsize pictures for slideshows to 1024 pixels longest side. It just makes the thing go a bit quicker when it's preparing the slideshow. Okay, so I'll just do Apple A to select all and drop them into there. There we go. Now obviously you can get the running order sorted out before you even go near iDVD, but you do have the option to rearrange the slides just by drag and drop like this if you want to make some last minute changes. Mix them up a little bit so that you don't have two very similar pictures next to each other, that kind of thing. So it's easy to move pictures around, or of course you can delete pictures as well. Okay, I think that'll work fine. So at the moment it's using the default duration of 3 seconds. Now you can go with that, or you can have a choice of 1, 3 or 5 seconds. Unfortunately you can't put in a specific time of your own choice. I would ideally like to have 4 seconds, but I can't, so I have to have 3 or 5. That's just a limitation of this program. Now if you want to make a slideshow that's under the user's control, you could simply set this to manual, and then what will happen is when they click the next button on their remote control, it will go to the next slide. So if you want a totally manual slideshow for proofing purposes, put it on manual. Otherwise put it on whatever time you like. And I normally just have a simple dissolve transition between the slides. Again, that's optional. Okay, now I want to put some music in. Again, you can go to the audio tab here and you can go and use whatever you've got in GarageBand, bearing in mind copyright and all that stuff. I'm going to go and use one of my own little tracks, so I'm just going to go to my music folder. Where are we? That's fine, here we go. Okay, and we'll just put this one in. Now what you do is, this can be an AIFF file or an MP3 file, something like that. Just drop it into there, into that little well in iDVD, and you can adjust the volume. Now when you do that, iDVD will change the slide duration to fit to audio. So it will take however many slides you've got and spread them out to fit the song. This particular track is quite long, it's nearly 5 minutes. So that's going to make my slideshow too slow. So I'm going to just change it back to 3 seconds. And what will then happen is the music will just fade out at the end, or if there wasn't enough music, it would repeat. So you can go either way. You can either fit it to the music, or you can have a fixed duration for each slide. Okay, well, we're nearly there. We could test the slideshow at this point by hitting the preview button. Okay, well, that works fine. You may have noticed how those images were scaled to that TV safe area, so they were not filling the screen. That's because of that preference that I chose in here for my slideshow. Okay. If you click the settings button here, there are a couple of other things that you can switch on, which are particularly useful if you do want to make a slideshow that the user can control rather than something that simply plays. First of all, you can loop it, you can have it go continuously. Second, you can switch on navigation arrows, which means if they're playing it on a computer, they'll be able to click on that to go to the next slide. On a regular DVD player, it's done by using the chapter skip button, the button that goes to the next chapter, in which case you don't necessarily need to show the arrows, but it's a good visual clue for the user that they can skip slides if you have that on. And also you can choose show titles and comments. I'll come back to that in a second. This duck audio feature isn't going to apply to most of us. What it does is you can actually include a movie file in your slideshow. So in other words, you could have 3 still images and then a short video clip and then 3 more still images or whatever. And if you do that and the video that you insert has its own audio track, this feature will fade down the music track for the whole slideshow while that movie is playing. So it's quite a slick little feature if you wanted to go really multimedia and mix up video and stills. I don't have any video in here, so I can simply deselect that or ignore it. Okay, notice the comments underneath here, so you can double click and you can put in a caption of whatever kind you want for each slide. I'm going to put in something really silly like this is the first slide, just so you can see what happens. You may prefer to switch to the alternate view up here, where you can see the title and the comments alongside the images. That's easier for putting this in. And you can also change the name of the image. Again, if you're using it for proofing, you'll probably want to keep that file name because it refers to your files that you have, and people, when people order the files, you want them to refer to it correctly. But if it's say a portfolio shot, you could say, you know, put in a more descriptive title like family on the beach, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'll put those in and then we'll just play it again briefly. At any time I can go and click the next slide button and jump through and skip forwards and backwards. Okay, so that's how I can add my titles and comments and have a slideshow that runs itself but also has those buttons for navigation. You may decide you don't want music, that's fine, or you simply want it totally manual. So either way. Okay, so once I've got that all set up, I can come back to my DVD map, go back to my menu, and I can test the whole thing. I've now got my slideshow showing up here. I would normally amend this name and just say something like play slideshow so they know to click on that. So let's hit the button and have a look. Now I expect some of you are thinking, well, yeah, I like the titles, but they're a bit big. Well, unfortunately, you can't change the size, or at least I haven't found a way to change them. So that's one of the downsides of this, but it does make it very easy to make a nice looking slideshow which people can play either just for fun or in order to pick out images. So there it is. Thanks for watching.